Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. In today's video, I'm going to give you a big real estate market update, and a ton has changed. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video, starting with unemployment. Just last week, another 1.9 million people filed for unemployment benefit claims, making that a total of almost 43 million people who have filed for unemployment just within the last 11 weeks. In addition, the stock market has rebounded greatly over the past several weeks. The Dow Jones right now is down only 3% year to date, which is a lot better than earlier this year because the stock market bottomed out right around March 23rd when the Dow was down almost 35% for the year. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA, about 8.5% of the mortgages out there are currently in forbearance, and that equates to about 4.3 million homeowners. That's only a slight increase from the previous week, and that does make sense because as people are going back to work, the rate of forbearances is not increasing as drastically as it was last month. Also, according to the MBA, total mortgage applications decreased 3.9% from the previous week. However, purchase applications continued their recent ascent, increasing 5% last week and 18% compared to a year ago. It also stated in this article that adjusted rate mortgages, or ARMs, only represent about 3.5% of the total mortgage applications out there. And this is obviously good to see because these are mortgages that people get with a variable rate, which means that if the interest rate changes, then your interest rate is also going to change on your mortgage. Obviously, this is a much more risky mortgage compared to a 30-year fix, for example. And this is one of the reasons why we had the mortgage default crisis of 2008. In other mortgage news, in order to keep up with the demand of mortgage applications, lenders have been on a hiring spree this year. So Quicken Loans has hired more than 1,500 people since the pandemic begun. In addition to that, United Wholesale Mortgage has hired about 1,100 new employees, and then Better.com has hired over 1,200 employees year to date. There was also a great article that was posted by Fannie Mae yesterday, and according to their survey from May, they said that only 32% of Americans believe it's a good time to sell a home, while 52% believe it's a good time to buy a home. Maybe that's a reason why there's a lack of homes for sale right now. Also, according to the survey, they said that the share of those who say it's a good time to sell increased 6 percentage points. In addition, they say the share of Americans who say it's a good time to buy increased 11 percentage points. It also stated in this survey that fewer people expect interest rates for mortgages to increase over the next 12 months. And I have to agree with this. I really can't see mortgage rates increasing significantly over the next 12 months given the current environment. In addition, Fannie Mae stated the following, which I actually liked as well. And they said that as lockdown restrictions begin to ease across the country, we expect economic recovery to be largely shaped by consumers' decisions regarding when and how to re-engage in the economy. I like this because just because we have the stay-at-home orders have been diminished or eased, it does not mean that the economy is going to skyrocket. A key question obviously would be, will people start spending money again? And if they do not, how is that going to affect our local cities, counties, and also our states if there's a decrease in sales tax revenue? Also, how many of the people who are currently unemployed, how many of those will actually find employment? And how long will that take? So of course, that remains to be seen. We'll have to wait for a few months to find out. It goes on to say in this Fannie Mae survey that 26% of the people think home prices will go up in the next 12 months, 35% think home prices will go down, and 30% said home prices will not change or will be flat. So by my math, 26% plus 35 plus 30 is 91%. So I guess 9% really have no idea. And I think honestly, it's nearly impossible to predict what the real estate market or the stock market is going to be doing in the near term. And that's why I never speculate. It also stated in this report that 75% of the people are not concerned about losing their job right now, which is great news. And by the way, I hope you're enjoying the videos so far. I just want to say that videos like these tend to take hours and hours to make, so I greatly appreciate it if you hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I post videos about how this pandemic's affecting the real estate market, as well as personal finance topics. Plus, I'm only 17 subscribers away from 6,000 at the time of this video, so thank you everyone who has subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. Also, a quick reminder, if you want 2 free stocks, click on the link below because WeBull is giving away 2 free stocks when you deposit $100 or more on their platform. Okay, let's go ahead and dive back into the video. According to Freddie Mac, mortgage interest rates increased very slightly to 3.18% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. I never thought I would say that rates have increased and they're still below 3.2%. That's a crazy low rate. Last week, there was a record low, and that was at 3.15% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. Absolutely crazy. So current interest rates are near record lows right now. So take a look at this chart, which shows interest rates over the last 10 years. The previous low was in 2013 when interest rates were closer to 3.3%. And like I mentioned in my previous videos, these super low interest rates have been fueling demand for homebuyers right now. According to Freddie Mac's chief economist, he stated the following: while homebuyer demand is up and has been broad-based across most geographies, supply has been slower to improve. In fact, the gap between supply and demand has widened even further than the large gap that existed prior to this pandemic. I explained this in detail about why home prices have not been increasing during this pandemic, so if you haven't viewed that video, I'll leave a link in the description below. I also have a friendly reminder for those of you who have entered into a mortgage loan forbearance, and that is that you do have options. So for example, if you have a mortgage backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, you are never required to make a one-time lump sum payment of all your missed payments after your mortgage forbearance term is over. You also may be able to refinance even if you miss some of your mortgage payments. Also, starting on July 1st, you may be able to do a payment deferral, which adds up to 12 months of missed payments to the end of your mortgage term. So therefore, you would pay it off if you refinance, sell your house, or pay off your mortgage. And of course, you can apply for a loan modification as well. Also, borrowers are able to do a mortgage loan forbearance regardless if it's an investment property, a vacation home, or your primary residence. And I want to mention this because someone had a question about this, so I want to answer that question for them. However, if you see my other videos, you know that I have some concerns about mortgage loan forbearances, and I have some videos. I'll leave a link in the description below for some pitfalls associated with this program. And by the way, if you're experiencing a financial hardship due to COVID-19, my heart goes out to you. I want to direct you to a website, whether you're a homeowner or a renter, about some options available to you. And that would be a Fannie Mae website, and that is knowyouroptions.com. Let's briefly discuss rent payments. So it was reported by the National Multifamily Housing Council that 93% of the people living in an apartment in the United States paid their rent from May 1st to May 27th. This is including a full or partial payment of rent for 11.4 million units of apartments out of 43 million renter households in the United States. This was an increase of about 2% from the previous month, which was April. I also found an interesting article on motleyfool.com, and they said that Invitation Homes stated that rent receipts were largely unaffected by COVID-19. So let me give you a brief background on Invitation Homes. They were once owned by real estate giant Blackstone, and they bought thousands and thousands of houses across the United States, renovated them, and then rented them out. And right now, Invitation Homes owns about 80,000 houses in the United States. They reported that May rent collections were off just by 3% from historical levels, and that's an improvement of about 2% from April. It goes on to say in this article that they have been working with their tenants who have been affected by COVID-19 by offering repayment plans. It does sound good here, but the reality is that there's a moratorium on evictions that runs through June 30th. So we'll see if that gets extended. Okay, let's discuss some stats from Realtor.com. So according to their website, for the week of May 30th in the United States, inventory decreased 23%, but that's still an improvement of 30% declines for the first half of May. And for the vast majority of the country, we are experiencing a seller's market, which basically means there's more buyers out there than there are sellers. It goes on to say in this article that the continued declines in newly listed properties mean we've yet to see the full wave of spring sellers return to the market. However, recovery could be on the horizon as 3/4 or 36 of the 99 large metros continue to see smaller declines this week, including New York and Chicago. The key word there is declines. That's because inventory has been decreasing which means that there's fewer options for home buyers out there, which is causing support for home prices. In my area, which is Sacramento, California, home sellers are receiving multiple offers about 51% of the time. So it's not uncommon for a home seller to get multiple offers and accept an offer just within a matter of a few days. According to Zillow, in the United States, total inventory is down about 24.9% from a year ago. As you can see on this graph, listings took a nosedive in late March, right around the time when this pandemic really started to hit us in the United States, and have continued to decrease through the end of May. Zillow also reported that pending sales increased 24.5% in the United States and remain positive in each of the top 35 metros that Zillow tracks. And by the way, if you're curious why inventory is so low right now, I know a lot of you are commenting in my videos about this. One of the reasons is the lack of new construction. So take a look at this graph, which was compiled by the US Census Bureau. It shows that single-family housing starts, which basically means the beginning of the construction phase of a house. It shows the housing starts over the last 50 years. So housing starts peaked right around the time of around 2005 and then plummeted. They have been increasing over the last 10 years, but we were still well below the number of housing starts from 1995 to 2005. I hope that makes sense because housing inventory is very low, and obviously the lack of construction is a factor. I found an interesting article on Redfin, so I wanted to share that with you. They reported that the housing market in Oakland, California, and the surrounding suburbs of Oakland, of the Bay Area, are recovering faster than San Francisco and San Jose. So for example, they said that more than 72% of Redfin.com users inside the city of San Francisco searched for homes outside the city in April 2020. And that is up almost 68% from a year ago. It also states in this article that more people are moving to less expensive areas where they can have more space because more companies are allowing their employees to have work from home arrangements. I'm also seeing a migration from the Bay Area to Sacramento. So for those of you who do not know, I'm a realtor here in Sacramento, and $1 million gets you an amazing house with a large lot and a swimming pool, so why not live in luxury in Sacramento and earn Bay Area wages? Also, according to Redfin, home buyer demand is up 22% from pre-pandemic levels after 7 straight weeks of gains. And it says that sellers are slowly returning, but new inventory can't keep pace with demand, and the number of homes for sale is down 24% compared to the prior year. So obviously this is a common trend. The lack of inventory is causing the number of home sales to decrease, even though there's a home buyer demand out there. It also goes on to say that mortgage rates are near 3% and inventory shortages drove prices up 7% and have increased competition for homes. And this is what I talked about my last real estate market update. Because we have a lack of inventory, it's causing support for home prices, so we're not seeing any COVID-19 discounts right now. It also mentions in this article that the demand for housing for cities with less than 50,000 people has increased 5 times faster than cities with over 1 million people. And this is based on page views on redfin.com. To me, this makes a lot of sense because we have been seeing an increase of COVID-19 cases. Plus, there's a lot of work at home arrangements, so it makes sense that there's an increase of interest in smaller towns. That's your real estate market update on a national level, but let me share what's going on in the Sacramento region. And I'm going to be sharing some graphics, compliments of Ryan Lundquist of SacramentoAppraisalblog.com. He also has a great YouTube channel, so I'll leave a link in the description below for that. Okay, let's talk about listings on hold status in the Sacramento region. And hold status basically means that the house is no longer for sale, but it's not a cancel listing either. So it's basically in this limbo phase. So listings are placed on hold status in the Sacramento region, peaked right around the stay-at-home orders were announced in California in late March, but have been experiencing a downward trend ever since then. Now we're approaching more or less normal levels. For cancel listings, which basically means that the home seller decided to take their house off the market, for cancel listings, they really peaked in late March and have declined to more normal levels right now. On the other hand, for pending sales, which basically means that the home seller has accepted an offer from a home buyer, pendings bottomed out in early April, but more or less have been increasing ever since then. And as you can see, we are above pre-pandemic levels. And by the way, if you want to have your finger on the pulse of the real estate market, regardless of what area you live in, take a look at what's going on with listings and pendings, because that's really going to describe what's going on currently in your real estate market. If you're going to be looking at home prices and the number of houses that have sold, that's really based on activity from a month ago. And this is, of course, because it takes about 30 days for a home to sell. So for when a home seller accepts an offer to when the house ultimately sells, typically that's around 30 days, depending on your market. Next, let's have a look at sales volume in the Sacramento region. And sales volume basically means the number of houses that have sold. Let's take a look at this graph here that shows sales volume in 2018, 19, and 2020 for single family homes. The dark blue there is in 2020. And as you can see, volume was in line with the previous 2 years up until we had the stay-at-home orders around late March. It decreased right around the end of March through the first part of May, but we've been seeing an uptick of sales ever since then. This really makes sense because the number of pendings have been increasing in the Sacramento region over the past month and a half. As you recall, it takes about 30 days for a house to sell from when an offer is accepted or pending to when it ultimately sells. On the other hand, home prices have been fairly flat in the Sacramento region ever since this pandemic has hit. And here's a graph showing median home prices, average sale prices, as well as price per square foot since January 2018. So you can see there that prices have increased significantly since 2018 and really for the past 5 to 7 years in the Sacramento region. And you can see here that from March to May of this year, the average sale price has increased, whereas the median sales price has decreased. So overall, prices have been fairly flat. This is a really important metric to follow in the months to come, regardless if you live in Sacramento or anywhere in the United States for that matter. So the key question will be, will more homeowners decide to sell their houses in order to meet or exceed the demand of homebuyers right now? And comment below with what you think will happen to the real estate market. Or will inventory remain low? Please subscribe and I'll keep you updated with new developments. Also, if you want 2 free stocks, click on the link below because for a limited time, WeBull is giving away 2 free stocks, with one of those being valued up to $1,400 when you deposit at least $100 on their platform. So if you want 2 free stocks, click on the link below and let me know which ones you receive. Please subscribe to this channel and I'll keep you updated with new developments. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. I hope you have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.